Now I know that this is going to disappoint a lot of you guys, but based on some leaks, rumors, and things that Apple have said themselves, I am now confident that a very powerful Intel-based Mac is coming later this year. So prepare to be surprised because this is gonna get interesting. Let's begin with some very old leaks that didn't really make much sense until right now. Now I don't know if you remember this, but over a year ago, Twitter user Rogaine discovered some very interesting bits of code within macOS beta pointing to brand new Navi 21 graphics card support coming to the Mac. And then in June, right after Apple announced macOS Big Sur at their WWDC event, even more code was discovered pointing to newer Navi 31 graphics support also coming to the Mac. So you might be thinking that all of that was meant for the 27-inch Intel-based iMac that we got released in August, but the very best graphics card option in that iMac is the 5700 XT, which is actually based on Navi 10, not 21 and certainly not 31. This basically shows that Apple was planning on adding support for those newer architectures in the future, which might seem a little bit weird unless they're planning on releasing another Intel-based Mac before the transition to Apple Silicon is completed. And I believe that's exactly what Apple is going to be doing, mostly because of this quote from last year's WWDC event.
We plan to continue to support and release new versions of macOS for Intel-based Macs for years to come. In fact, we have some new Intel-based Macs in the pipeline that we're really excited about.
Yes, Tim Cook mentioned some Intel-based Macs, and as we all know, the only one they've released so far is the 27-inch iMac, which shows that they've got at least one more Intel-based Mac coming in the future. And as of right now, after seeing how incredibly good Apple's very first and weakest M1 chip has been performing compared to Intel chips, like the Slaughterfest that happened in one of our latest laptop comparisons, everybody already knows that they should avoid Intel on the consumer level Macs because Apple Silicon is just too good. However, there is still one Mac that could potentially fit the bill for getting an Intel-based chip, and that is, of course, the Mac Pro. So let me explain why. The current 2019 Mac Pro is now the only Mac that's available with an Intel Xeon chip, and that chip is extremely important for specific workflows like high-end mathematical and scientific computation, since Xeon chips are fine-tuned to run complex tasks with very wide bit depths. And of course, the ECC RAM is very desirable for those workflows as well, and it's exclusive to high-end machines like the Mac Pro. On top of that, it supports up to 1.5 terabytes of RAM, which is absolutely overkill for 99% of the people out there, but there are very specific workflows that can actually utilize all of it. And there are huge corporations that will pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for a machine like the Mac Pro. And if you really think about it, it would be a shame if Apple spent years on research and development, as well as tons of resources on all of the custom tooling and custom components in the 2019 Mac Pro, just to completely ditch all of that when the new Apple Silicon Mac Pro is released. And we know for sure that the new Apple Silicon Mac Pro is not going to be using the same cheese grater chassis because it's overkill with the huge motherboard and everything else. And by simply looking at the new 24-inch iMac, we know that Apple wants to go smaller with their new Apple Silicon Macs. So what I'm trying to say is that it totally makes sense for Apple to reuse the current Mac Pro's design for at least one more Intel-based Mac Pro refresh. And we've actually got quite a few leaks and rumors to support this conclusion. A couple of months back, Mark Gurman from Bloomberg, a very reliable Apple analyst, claimed that Apple was working on 2 Mac Pro high-end desktop machines. He even mentioned that one of them will be a refreshed model that will reuse the same chassis and that will continue to use Intel processors, which is what this video is all about. And of course, there will be a second version that will use Apple's own chips and be less than half the size of the current Mac Pro. So based on that and everything else that I've already mentioned, the Intel-based Mac Pro is definitely happening, and here's why I think it's gonna get released this December. First off, Apple's super high-end machines like the 2013 Mac Pro, the 2017 iMac Pro, and the 2019 Mac Pro were always released in December because it's targeted towards huge businesses who need to get tax write-offs before the end of the year by investing their extra profits. And the reason I think that it's coming this December and not next year is because I believe that's when the Apple Silicon Mac Pro is going to get released, right at the end of their 2-year timeline for the transition. But the even more telling reason is because of this massive leak that recently showed up. An Apple Mac Pro exclusive AMD Radeon Pro W6900X GPU has randomly popped up on Geekbench with the highest metal score ever seen on any Mac in this test, even beating out the regular 6900 XT, which this X card is based on. Now, there are some people that say that this is a fake result that's actually using a Hackintosh system because it's noted as using an Intel Core processor, but I actually think that it's legit, and here's why. That i9 Core chip is using Intel's latest Cascade Lake architecture. But since the latest Xeons haven't yet made it onto store shelves, I think that Geekbench didn't recognize the new Xeon chip, so it defaulted to that 12-core chip that it does recognize. And on top of that, if it actually was a Hackintosh with a regular 6900 XT graphics card, how would it be able to get a score that's quite a bit higher? The test result clearly shows a W6900X, which can only happen if support for that card is already built into macOS, which we saw with those previous leaks within macOS beta code. And the WX cards use Apple's custom MPX slot, which can't be put into a Hackintosh, so this is likely a legit leaked benchmark result. And just a couple of weeks ago, support for this new Navi 21 generation of AMD GPUs was finally added to macOS, showing that Apple is working on the software for these new cards and likely for this brand new W6900X for the Mac Pro. And if you're wondering how it's able to get a higher score than the other 6900 XT, it's likely because it'll be coming with 32 gigabytes of VRAM instead of the regular card's 16. And we know this because Apple's W5700 XT in the Mac Pro has 16 gigs of VRAM, compared to only 8 on every other 5700 XT card on the market. And going even further, I have 2 very good reasons for why this new Intel-based Mac Pro is gonna get released this December. First off, AMD's new 6000 series desktop GPUs, like the 6900 XT, are already on the market. So if Apple waited even longer to release a Mac Pro with the W6900X, it wouldn't feel as fresh or powerful anymore. And second, Intel finally launched their new 3rd gen Xeons last month, based on the new 10nm Ice Lake architecture, which should give it some pretty good advantages that Apple would definitely want in their refreshed Mac Pro, but this creates a huge problem. These new Xeon chips require a brand new socket, which also requires a brand new motherboard. This means that Apple can't simply refresh the same listing page for the current Mac Pro and add those new Intel chips. They literally have to redesign the motherboard to add the new socket, which means that it needs to have a new part number, which in turn means that it's likely going to be named the 2021 Mac Pro. So yeah, if you take all of the information from this video, everything points to Apple releasing a new Intel-based Mac Pro this December based on the current cheese grater chassis. So there you guys go. That was all of my reasoning for why we're getting a new Intel-based Mac Pro this year. And if you totally disagree with me, comment your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed it, click that circle above to subscribe. Check out one of those 2 videos right there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.